So I am very pleased to welcome Ben Fluno, an amazing artist and realtor, right? And how we're going to discuss all about how he combines the two. So, Ben, welcome to the show.
Hello.
Thank you for joining me. I'm so excited to talk with you and share all your great art and creativity with the audience.
I'm excited. I'm here in my non-air conditioned studio, so
yes.
I had a great time.
I can see that. It's amazing. And just a little background for the audience. So I first met Ben through Molly Walsh, and she was a community manager at Venture X. And Ben had his paintings featured on the walls of this co-working space.
And there's some there as well.
Yeah, and there was this one piece that caught my eye. It was turquoise with like just dripping gold, and I loved it. And I remember, and this was probably like a year and a half ago, right, Ben? Like it was a while. Yeah. But it always stuck in my head. I still remember like taking a photo in front of it even. And then I started following you on Instagram. And from there, one day I think you said you do commissioned pieces. Mm-hmm. And I was like, well, I mean, like, because I've been like slowly setting up, as you can all see in the audience, I've been setting up my kind of so-called home studio to go live from. And I had this theme of, oh, we lost Ben. He'll come back. I had this theme of like purples and pinks and grays. And I just thought, it'd be great to maybe commission a piece and have like the colors in the painting match the colors in my studio. And so I reached out to Ben, and pardon us as we work out the technical difficulties as he comes to us from his studio. He will come back in here. But as we chatted, he worked with me to kind of incorporate the colors that I wanted, which were, as you can see, like I love gold, pink, purple, gray. And then that's kind of like my studio colors. And he did this custom piece for me, which I think it's absolutely gorgeous. I hired him to do that, and I can't wait to share with you that process and what he did with that. So Ben, are you still there? I think we lost Ben for a little bit. So bear with us. In the meantime, I'm going to highlight some of his Instagram feeds so that you guys can find him on Instagram. He's not, there he is. You're back, Ben.
This doesn't work very good with my phone, I'm finding out.
No worries. We'll make do. We'll make do. I was just sharing with them our, so when I commissioned the piece, right? And that's what you do. You could do commission pieces, and I can see all kinds of great art in the background as well. I was just going to highlight to people your Instagram page, and talk us through, how did you talk us through some of your pieces and your styles when it comes to art?
So I have a few different styles. I mainly paint in an abstract expressionistic style, which basically means it's an expression of myself on canvas. And so a lot of it is it's more about color and contrast and
there's my piece.
There's your piece. Can you click on that and make it larger at all?
Yes. How's that?
There
Does
you
it come
go.
out and yes. Oh, I love it.
So you commissioned that. You saw my painting that's called Awakening that had the blue, the ocean color with
Yes.
the gold dripping down. And you said, I want that, but I want my own
This
color,
was the inspiration.
which is what
Yes.
I love about commissions is you could say, I love this, but I want mine unique. I want it to be like nothing anybody else has. I want it to, the colors to match, my office, my setting, my living room, my dining room. So I love commissions. They challenge me to do new things. And in fact, the series started, the Liquid Gold series started with my real estate broker tying in my real estate and his wife building a new house, and they wanted a custom piece for their large dining room. And
Awesome.
they sent me some pictures of some styles they liked, but it was different. And I said, well, how can I make this my own? Because I'm not going to copy anybody else's style. It has to be my own thing. And that's when the liquid gold, the gold leaf
Oh,
over.
Ben, sorry. They're saying your sound's a little soft. If you could maybe come closer to your phone. There we go. And
Okay,
then speak
sorry
a little
about that.
louder.
How
Thank
about
you.
that?
Yeah.
Is that
And
better
then
at all?
just, yes. And then just maybe speak, I guess just speak louder than your normal conversational volume.
I thought I was talking loud, but I'll talk like this
There you go.
and maybe slow it down a little bit.
All good. Yeah, you were saying so. It started from a commission piece of, because that's what you do, right? You combined, because your profession is real estate.
Correct. So I actually had my real estate broker and his wife commission a piece for their dining room. And I love how real estate as a business and artwork as a business, blend together. So a short little, thing. I recently had a broker open house where I have a brand new listing. It's a $1.1 million modern new construction home on the market in Northwest Dallas called Midway Hollow. And basically a blank slate, white walls, brand new home, professionally staged. And I was able to bring together the stagers and throw a really fun party and fill the whole house with my artwork. So I've done art staging as well for other realtors that have a listing, and I've been able to use some of my artwork to make these houses look more beautiful. So it's a blending of passions. It's a blending of love for architecture, love for modern architecture, as well as the artwork that goes along with that. If you could see that painting that has the orange and the black on it and the gold,
Yes.
I recently sold that one to a new collector, but that's showing a modern new house I sold last year, and I used the artwork to help market and help the house to sell.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, I'm curious because, like, how did you even know, as I assume you started in real estate first, right? But like, how did you develop this love of art, and how did you transition from real estate and then, abstract artists? Tell us your journey along
Yeah.
that path.
So I actually loved art as a child. I pursued it in high school. I was always drawing and being creative, taking art classes, and took some classes in community college, pursuing possibly art as a career. I knew I wasn't going to be stuck in a job that I hated, so I wanted to work in a job that I loved.
Mm,
And I realized after taking a graphic arts design class, which was basically the only jobs available to artists at the time,
yeah.
is that was not going to meet my creative need. The way I paint, the way I create, was not behind a drafting table or a computer. It's much more freehand. It's much more experiential, much more in the moment, and not behind a computer. That's not how I create. Other people do great at that, but that was not my personal way. And
Yeah.
so I basically put art on the shelf for 20 plus years,
Wow.
a long hiatus, and I went and got a job because I knew I needed a job, and I
Yeah.
knew that art as a career at the time was not going to work. So I just needed a job to pay some immediate bills. And about 4.5 years ago now, I wanted some original artwork for my house. Always loving art, but just not calling myself an artist, just not really picking up a brush. And I started looking on Etsy and some other places for original art. And I didn't want art from a store. I wanted real original art from a local artist.
Right.
And I felt like it was a lot of money for something I felt like should be pretty easy. Well,
Mm-hmm.
I decided to go buy some paintbrushes and some canvases and realize it's not easy at all. And
Yes.
but I had a knack for it. It was a long lost love,
Mm.
a passion.
It kind of came out of you again.
It's like a fountain, like a well that just once it was tapped, it started coming out very fast. And I realized this is something that I needed to do. I had to create. And once I started, I started testing different styles, finding out what fit with my personality. I was already, like you said, fully involved as a real estate agent, working with builders, working with investors who had properties and they needed staging. And so early on, I started thinking of artwork that could also fit in a setting, in a real estate, in a nicely renovated or new home, whether it be a dining room or a master bedroom or whatnot. And so some of my work is very contemporary, very clean, very safe, I would say, as far as really is nice palette, works really great in many different styles of homes.
Yeah.
But I just kept on developing my style and letting myself be more and more free with my creative expression. And so then you have behind me some of these kind of works in progress, and they're not finished, but it's a lot of different mediums, working with resin, working with oil, working with acrylic, working with silver and gold leaves, just expressing myself in different ways. So I have a few different ways that I create and express myself.
I love that. And Ben, look at this. In the audience, we have Gail, she says, I was a graphic designer for over 15 years, but recently laid off due to COVID. I decided to follow my dreams and am studying to take a real estate license exam. I'm hoping this speaker has some good advice for artists seeking real estate careers. So she did the other way. Yeah. She started off in graphic design, and now she's going into real estate. Whereas you did it the other way. I mean, that's great. Like, yeah. So wow.
Being an artist and for me, being an artist, I'm an entrepreneur. I'm creating my own art business, and it's the same for real estate. So you have to be bold to be a realtor. You have to be an entrepreneur, and you don't have a boss really to tell you what to do, to get up at a certain time, to send out, to make those phone calls, to call your friends, to email, to do your social media marketing, to do open houses. You have to create your own business. You have to obviously align with a good brokerage in real estate that has good training for you and good mentoring to help get, a lot of business, so you could do open houses, so you can get your feet wet doing real work. But it's your own business. You have to make it happen. And it's an entrepreneur. Being an artist, if you're going to be a successful artist, you are also a salesperson. You have to do some marketing or pay somebody to do
multiple hats.
It's the whole package. The same with real estate.
Yeah. I mean, speaking of that,
it's exciting. It's an exciting thing.
You kind of honed in on certain specialties, right? Because I see a lot of people that try to be jack of all trades and sell every type of home or sell every type of art. But I think it sounds like through your process of kind of finding your style, you lean towards the more modern and abstract. And that kind of comes out in your real estate too, right? Because you kind of go for modern, new design homes, right? How did you find your specialty? Like, how did you know that was your specialty?
Yes. I think it just develops, Can you hear me good?
Yes. Yeah. Just keep on speaking loud.
Okay. Sorry. My phone was freezing up there for a second. I was just making sure that I had a good connection. For me, it just developed. Early on when I started my real estate career, I knew that the investment side of it was in my mind. Even when I thought about I bought my first house. And after that experience, I was so excited about just buying a house that needed a little bit of renovations, being able to go in, fix it up, make it my own. And I couldn't sleep. The very next night after buying my first house, I was like stayed up all night thinking about how cool would it be to work and renovate houses and sell them, and kind of flipping houses was already in my mind before I even really knew what it was about, before there was any TV shows about it. And so that was 2002 when I first started in real estate with Ebby Halliday Realtors, actually, in Dallas. And so I already had the investor mindset. And so early on, my first listing was kind of an investor listing. And I had picked up an investor that was flipping houses, and I wanted to learn from him. So after about 5 years of being in real estate, I actually started flipping houses, started renovating houses. It was something that I really wanted to do. Being able to see the beauty in ugly buildings, being able to see past the old ugly carpet and old ugly
Yeah.
drapes and nasty kitchen and bathrooms, and seeing that has potential. And I love that. I still love that. I still work with investors a lot. The majority of my business is working with clients who take something ugly and they renovate it, and I help them with the design, help them pick out tile, help them pick out paint colors, help them,
Yeah,
because I have an eye for design, which kind of ties in with the artwork as well.
absolutely. Yeah, because in a way, I mean, that's the same thing with art. You start with this blank white canvas, and then you throw in your creativity and inject your passion and your expertise into it, right? Same with a fixer-upper house.
Yes.
Oh, I
And
love that
and
parallel.
and and just like anything, your first house you renovate, unless you're studying under someone really good, you're going to make mistakes. And it's the same
Yeah.
for any business. And you just keep at it. If you love it, you're going to keep at it. And it won't feel like work, right? It won't feel like work
Yes.
because you love it. It's exciting.
Yes, for
Always
sure.
always a new canvas, always a new house, always a new client.
You
So
definitely.
I love that.
So as far as creativity, right? Like, cause this whole series, I'm always fascinated by creativity because I feel like it's something that's kind of elusive. It's very subjective, and it's not necessarily something that has a step-by-step process, right? Like, it's not like step one,
Yeah.
do this, step two, do that. What would you say your definition of creativity is? What does creativity mean to you?
Well, I personally believe that every human being is creative. And I believe we're created beings made in the image of our creator. And so my mindset is that every human is creative. Just look at children. Children are all creative. And the problem is, how do we stay creative as we become adults? And so every person has a form of creativity, an expression of creativity. The question is, what is that expression? And sometimes you don't know until you try something. And
Yeah.
some people are very creative at putting together lovely parties and house parties. They're really creative at making good food. And
Yeah.
when they make food for their family or their friends, it's not just average, it's like really good. And so you find out, what are you good at? What are your passions? And that's where your creativity usually lies.
Mm.
And then you look for ways to implement that in your life, because I feel like if your creative side is not being used and it's not being stirred up, then part of you is kind of dead. It's asleep.
Yes.
And part of your
Yeah.
personality is asleep. And when you meet somebody that's passionate about what they're doing, that they're alive, it's exciting, and it's energy, and you feed off of that. And
Absolutely.
that's that creativity. That's that part of you that's different than everyone else. You have your own creativity that only you have, and people around you need to experience that.
Absolutely. Yeah. And then from there, like you get an idea, right? Like, so like even just like this painting right here, right?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, all I did was say, Ben, I wanted something that was purple, gray, and pink, and then gold. And then and then from there, you basically took this idea, these words that I said, and then
Yeah.
you made it into something. Like, how do you, what sparks your ideas? And then how do you kind of like build up all those different layers of your paintings? We are, oh, he froze. I know this is what happens when we're coming at you live from a studio. Can you hear me, Ben? There you are. Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yes. Awesome.
So unfortunately, I'm using my mobile device, and it just has, it's just not able to connect as well as if I was on a home computer.
No worries. It's good that we can see your art though. But yeah, how do you develop an idea? Like, how do you take something from a client request and then make it into something so beautiful? What's your process?
Usually they already have an idea of what something that's similar that they want, that they've seen. Ideally, it's something that they've already seen of mine. So I create paintings and different styles and different designs, and then they'll look at that and say, I like that. Can you make it like a little bit different? So your painting, for example, started with a blue background, layers of texture, and gold leaf, and according to my liquid gold series. And you said you wanted specific colors. But even then, I knew it wasn't going to turn out exactly how I might have thought, or you might be thinking, right?
This was the inspiration. Yeah. Oh, let me go back.
Well, so anyway, so you saw that one and you connected with it, or actually you saw one that was like that, and actually somebody else saw that one that you connected with, and they wanted a commission of something very similar. So this one looks just like the first one, but it's also different, and it's unique. Not one of my paintings is the same. And even when somebody says, can you do this?
There's the original.
Yes. So, and I've done different versions of that, and I've done really dark blue, almost black backgrounds for people as well. So it started with a commission with somebody saying, can you paint me something? And it wasn't like this. Nobody's painted something like that before. It's it was a unique thing that just kind of came out of, I saw somebody sent me a picture of another painting that had dark colors and it had some silver gold highlights, but it was more like asteroids. It wasn't like that liquid style. And I just started experimenting with my materials until I came up with this liquid gold effect. And my clients loved it. And so somebody saw that and said, can you do something similar? And I did a different version. And now that is a series that I have that people can adapt and say, I like that, but can you make it different? So yours is a new version, and nobody's had anything like that before. I've never done the pink and the purple tones. And I love it. It's gorgeous.
Me too. I love it so much. and I think that's the beauty of art for me. Like I walk by it and it still just kind of like makes me happy, right? Like I see it every day and I'm like, damn, I'm so glad I got it. Like it just makes me so happy, and it brings light and joy to my life. And I think that's the beauty of art, right? Like it creates all these emotions, even though it's a inanimate object, right? Yeah. What do you think about that? Well, what are your thoughts around that?
One thing that Cézanne, the famous painter, would do is he would pull out of inanimate objects life. He would bring things that were kind of inanimate. He'd bring life to them through color, through his passion. And so people would say, well, other painters have painted the same setting, but you have brought life to it. So I think our creative gifts bring life to things that might normally just be kind of they wouldn't have the life, but we bring our own life into it. So there is definitely that. I pour my passion into the paintings. I pour my energy, my life into the canvas. And I believe it does come through. It does. My positivity. I'm a very positive person. And so I believe a lot of that comes forth in my paintings. You'll see the light, you'll see the energy, you'll see the positivity. And so
Absolutely.
I love that.
Yeah.
Another idea. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Another, if you look on the Instagram as well, you'll see the horse painting. And I'm having a train pass by, if you hear that in the background. And so I usually paint in an abstract.
This
Are
is
you
the
saying this
live
is an
experience,
abstract
everyone.
style?
Yeah,
Did you hear the train?
I did.
Probably not.
Yes. But tell
Okay.
us about the horse.
So my warehouse studio is right next to a train track, which is really cool. I like it. And it's still passing. But the horse painting in that setting, I was renovating a house 2 years ago in Oak Cliff, and it was a Spanish ranch style house, and I was renovating it
Mm.
with a modern Spanish ranch. Everything, all the white walls, gray concrete floors, wood beams, and when I saw this house and started renovating, I said, this house needs a Spanish style but monochrome horse. And I'd never painted that
Mm.
before, but I said, I need to paint this for this house. And so that was the house sparked the idea for this horse.
Ah,
And I love that horse. I still have it in my inventory. In fact, it's gracing a house right now that I have on the market.
wow. And that's the thing. You said something, I think, that I want to kind of dive a little deeper in. And that is this idea of experimenting and kind of, in a way, you kind of just
Yeah.
trust your gut, right? And I think too often, I was a big nerd, big geek, and uh, I'm taught to like do well in school and like follow the test and follow the process. And I was an engineer, right? So everything I had to follow a process, right? Whereas
Yeah.
the older that I get, the more I realize, man, I need to experiment more and just try and not be afraid of failure. And when I see you create these pieces, you say it just starts from an idea and you just go with it. Like how do you allow yourself to kind of just go for it and not know what that piece might look like at the end, or what, even entrepreneurship, when
Yeah.
on your entrepreneurship journey.
It definitely takes having the right personality to be able to do that. I have other artist friends, and they cannot let themselves go that much just to be able to pick up a paint color and just literally throw it on the canvas, knowing that it's going to turn out beautiful in the end, even if it just looks ugly
Yeah.
right now. And they are meticulous in their application of portraits and animals and different things that I don't paint, but that is what they do because it fits in alignment with that meticulous side of their
Yeah.
personality. And so part of it is personality.
Mm.
I am very expressive. I'm big time extrovert.
Mhm.
And so when I'm creating, it's a fearless form of create. I have no fear. I shouldn't say I have no fear. We all have our small little fears, but
Yeah.
I'm not really worried about how it's going to turn out. I just
Ah,
trust the process, and I trust that it's going to be beautiful. And if it's not, I can paint over it.
yeah. Yeah.
and and sometimes it's not beautiful, and it's not always beautiful. Sometimes it's ugly, but it's still good art, and that's a whole nother topic. But sometimes I feel like it's
Ah,
good and it's done well, but it's not something for everyone. It's going to take the right setting for that artwork to be appreciated.
absolutely. Yeah. And we're
So
getting
I don't
a
know. I just go for it. Sound issues?
No, I love it. Like, yeah, no, we're getting great feedback. Esther, she said beautiful paintings. Hannes, she said gorgeous art pieces. And then Gail, with regards to your real estate advice, she said excellent advice on those career transitions. Um, Mike was saying, the artist must have loads of self-belief to take your
And if she wants
ideas
some
and create.
additional,
Go ahead.
I missed that last part.
You were saying if she wants some additional what? Oh, we froze. So note to self. um, it's always good to have our Wi-Fi in there. Yeah, no, Mike Rochelle was saying that the artist must have loads of self-belief to take your ideas and create. And yeah, can you hear us, Ben? Oh, you froze. Oh, almost there. And then Mike also had a question, Ben, if you can hear us. What percentage of time are you prospecting
I
for
can.
new?
Can you hear me?
Yes, you're back, but your image is frozen.
Hello, can you
Almost.
hear me?
Yes, yes. Now I can. Are you able to hear our question? I'm going to share with you an audience question that I got. And that is,
Okay.
what percentage
All
of
right.
time are you prospecting for new customers or like networking with builders and architects versus like working on pieces for customers? Like, how do you balance the two sides of you?
Well, that's a good question. My full-time job is real estate. I am living off of my real estate career right now, and only partially
Yeah.
on my artwork. Even though I'm transitioning, I'm selling more artwork. I'm putting a lot of the art sales back into my art business, and even stepping into a bigger studio space and buying more materials and whatnot. So,
Yeah.
real estate is still my full-time career. And I've been in real estate for quite a while, and I built up a good client base. So I don't spend a lot of time actually prospecting and going after new business. What I really do is just keeping my current sphere that I have worked over the years in good
Yeah.
relationship with. Um, I give a lot of advice to my buyer. Like, I work with a lot of investors, so that's a big percentage of my business. But I also work with some first-time home buyers,
Ah.
and my background in flipping houses and renovating houses really helps out because I bring my expertise. I
Mm.
have a long list of contractors. If someone, hello,
Yes. It cut out just at
hello,
the end. Yeah. It just cut out at the end. So you were saying
but
you have a long list of contractors that you work with?
yeah, and so if I have a home buyer and they don't really know about these repairs, every house, most of these older homes, especially that I work with in East Dallas, have repair issues. And so I bring an expertise with my background in investment that kind of gives them peace of mind. If there's repair issues, we can take care of those things. And so they'll call me back 3, 4, 5 years later. In fact, I'm
Oh,
under
wow.
contract on I'm under contract on a property that I sold 15 years ago. And
Wow.
being the artist that I am, I'm not really great at organization. So I have not even followed up with this client for 15 years. And she
But
reached
they
out to me
remembered.
because of the connection we had. And so that's really important, is building rapport and just being honest and using integrity in all of my business
Mm,
transactions. Um,
I
and
love
so
that.
that's, people will remember that, and they'll reach back out when it's time.
Yeah. Actually, I had right before this show, I had a question on my post promoting the show from Lindy Chapman, and she was curious to know, what changes have you seen in the real estate market since COVID hit, and um, have you had to adapt, or what are the market trends right now?
Yeah. Thankfully, the interest rates are at all-time lows.
Mm,
And
yeah,
so that has definitely offset the quarantine effect. There was definitely a lull. March and April are usually realtors' biggest months. March, April, May. Springtime is usually our biggest months in
yeah.
Feb, March, and April. But May really came around, and June and July were some of my busiest months because people got tired of being quarantined in their home. And
Yes. Yes.
a lot of people realized they need more space. And so I
Yeah.
had a few in July. I have an extremely busy July where people in June were they're selling their house so they can get a
Ah,
bigger house. And they sold their house to the expand. Some of them wanted a swimming pool because all the public swimming pools were closed, and
yeah.
they wanted They weren't going on vacation, so they wanted to make their own home like a vacation.
Yeah.
And the interest rates were at all-time low. And most of them had a decent amount of equity. They've owned their homes for a few years, and the home prices have gone up consistently. So they wanted to take advantage of that. In fact, I have a listing under contract right now, and 2 clients of mine, they bought the house only a year ago. And am I still there?
Yep.
Okay. They bought the house only a year ago, but because of COVID, they're working from home, and their jobs, they said they're probably not going to go back into their corporate jobs until middle of next year.
Wow.
And so they are working from home, and they're selling their house to go out on their RV full time.
Wow. Wow.
And their kids are just going to do mobile school
Oh,
on their laptops, because that's a lot of the school systems are allowing that. So they're taking advantage of this whole COVID thing and doing a kind of living their dream of going and just being full-time nomads. So that's exciting.
wow. Talk about freedom.
Yeah.
That's the ultimate freedom, right? Yeah. And even
Yeah.
for like, I have a friend that was looking for a lake house because, we can't travel as much, or at least not internationally. And so she was looking for lake houses, and everything was like either sold out or way above asking price, right? You cut out. What were you saying about everybody needing a vacation? In the meantime, I would like to show you just one of the ways that Ben has used his art and his real estate profession, and how he has, Ben, I was just, while we get the technical difficulties worked out, I was just going to show people how you combined your art with an open house, because I thought this was so cool. Let me just make sure that the audio comes on, but and then that way the connection can catch up with us. But yeah, this was how you combined art with real estate in an open house.
I remember you. Slow down, so I can follow you. And you feel a soul beside me by truth and broke my mold. All the way, I remember you.
Yeah. I mean, that's where you really took it to the next level, right? Like you had an open house, and then from there you combined it with your art pieces, and you had music too, and food.
And drinks.
And drinks. You really elevated the whole open house experience.
Yeah, and I loved it because it really merges with my personality of networking, connecting with people. I've had a really hard time during COVID with the whole Zoom meeting connections, because I feel like I don't get to connect. Like, I feel like I can connect with you, but I need to connect with people in real, and have that back and forth banter, and the open house and kind of networking events that we can do in real estate was perfect for that. And people were ready to get out. People are so ready to get out. Some of them, not everybody, but in a safe, sanitized environment. People are ready to get out and have fun and see real estate and look at artwork and have that experience that kind of gets you not thinking about yourself and your own situation for a little while, and
For sure.
just
It's an
really
escape.
enjoying,
Yeah.
yes, and enjoying beauty and looking at going to museums again and going out to restaurants.
Yeah.
There's something people need that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And as far as like, you know, you're very active on social media. I mean, we saw, you know, your Instagram account, you're on Facebook. A big part of, you know, what I talk about is content creation and social media. And you were saying like, you know, you really take on a lot of your own marketing, whether it's on the real estate side or your art side. You know, how have you leveraged content creation and social media for your businesses on both sides?
um, People like to see success no matter what your business is. And so social media is a way to let people see your successes, let people see your progress as well.
Yeah.
And people, whether it be real estate or whether it be the success and reality too, where it's real, authentic. They want to know not just the polished photos that we put up on our social media content. They want to know, who is this person? What are their interests? So the
Yes.
problem sometimes with business people on social media is they only put a very max headroom. That's an old from a long time ago. They only put a very polished, almost fake personality out there, very finished,
Yeah.
very polished photographs, or very all business. And people will say, yeah, that's great, but who is this person? Do I want to spend time with them? Because typically, I think as well, if somebody wants to purchase art, they want to connect with the artist. If somebody
Yes.
wants to work with you in finding their next home, they need to connect with you as the realtor. So personality is very important. It's hard to find out
Yeah.
who is this person just by a picture of you in a suit in front of your house, or just
Right.
a picture of a piece of artwork, even how beautiful the artwork might be. They need to connect with the artist when it comes to art, with the artwork. They need to connect with the realtor, with the
Yeah.
real estate. And so I feel like social media is a platform for us to share who we really are. And so I've
Yeah.
separated my real estate social media from my artwork social media, but sometimes they overlap. When I did like the real estate open house
Yeah.
with the artwork, that is a way I can overlap the two passions and pull them together. So my Instagram, Ben Fluno Art, I started before my Ben Fluno Real Estate Instagram.
Oh,
So my Ben,
interesting. Even though you had the real estate business for so long.
yes, because in the way Instagram, like Instagram when it first started, was much more about your hobbies. It's much more about photographs than it was. I didn't know how to use that for real estate at the time. So I felt like Instagram would share my that with real estate. So I added my real estate Instagram later, and
Yeah.
I'm developing both of them.
And you've also kind of like taken it
And
to another level too, right, Ben? Like, I mean, there's your art, which is obvious, right? But you've also created mass out of your art, right? And
yeah,
and then you've also created like tables out of your art. I was trying to there. What led you to kind of explore these other methods?
well, I'm a very practical person, as you know. So I think obviously when quarantine happened, and still is, COVID, that we have to now wear our masks when you go inside buildings,
Yeah.
and who knows, and when we travel, we're going to be wearing masks for quite a while, I believe. I don't know how long. And
Yeah.
so
There you go.
I
Oh,
said,
I mean,
I
it's a
said,
gorgeous mask.
it's one of my paintings. It's one of my paintings. So
Yeah.
I decided I would show you the back of my cell phone, but it's being used to record, but it's one of my paintings as well. And so I figured, hey, if I'm going to be wearing a mask a lot, I don't want to wear a surgical mask. I want something that has some style and some color. And
Absolutely.
so I worked with a company, and that you can upload my artistic designs, and then
Wow.
have them printed on high quality masked and so they're washable. And so I did that just because, and I wanted to share that with other people. Not everybody's ready to invest in a high quality piece of artwork, but they want to represent the artist. They want to wear something that's creative, that's unique. And
Yes.
so I told people about my art mask, and a ton of people bought them. And every time I make an order, it takes a while for them to be built to be made, because so many people are taking use of this, is that they sell out. They sell out right away.
I want dibs on your next batch, Ben.
Okay, very good.
I want to order some.
I don't have a store where you could go buy them on the store, but you could reach out to me through my Instagram and put in a request for my next order.
Absolutely, yeah.
The tables, I actually was making some resin artwork on some circle wood type canvases. So that's a 24-inch round tabletop. And I actually was making them to be hung on the wall at first for like and so on one of my stories or one of my posts up, it'll show like the artwork on that video. You saw a couple of round artworks on the wall.
Yes.
In the game room. And so I was like, but I said, well, this could also make a really cool table. And so I was able to purchase the hairpin legs and see those red ones right there. Correct.
Yeah. So
that is actually a wall hanging, but that could become a table. So if somebody said, I love that, that would be an amazing, side table for my couch. I don't want just a typical cookie cutter end table to put my lamp, to put my books on. I want something unique that nobody else has. I can create something like that. I can custom make, and it's got a nice reflect. You could put a cup on it because it's resin. Resin is like dries hard like glass.
I don't need a coaster.
It is a giant coaster.
I love it. I hate coasters.
and it actually protects the artwork underneath as well. And so that's a nice. And I was thinking about making some coffee tables, maybe even a dining room table if somebody wanted to, because it's so fun.
Yeah. Look at this in the comments.
Practical artwork. Functional practical artwork.
Yes.
What are the comments?
And it takes so many different forms, right? Hannes, who is one of my former guests as well as a good friend, she says, I love the concept art exhibition at an open house, because she's a former model and she used to own her own fashion agency as well. And now she also does custom pieces for men. And she did a fashion presentation at an open house. Cool. Yeah. Oh, she says your patterns would be great on a blouse. I think so too.
I've wanted to do clothing, and so we'll see when how that turns out.
This would be a great scarf.
That would be amazing,
right? Like that would I would love it. I'd be like
yours, and the other gold leaf ones would make amazing scarves. I have not pursued that, but maybe one day.
You heard it here, folks. Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, and there's just so many possibilities. I remember when I saw
you came up with the idea, so there you go.
I want the first one off the assembly line. How's that?
Okay, it's yours.
So for those people, yes. So for those people out there, that they have all these different sides of themselves, right? The creative side, obviously they still have their day job. And even like Gail in the audience.
Yeah.
Okay. Advice number 1, don't quit your day job. Yes.
Don't quit your day job while you're pursuing your creative side, because that would not be fun. Keep paying the bills and do it on the side until you make enough to quit your day job. Anyway, go ahead.
Awesome. No, please continue. What other advice would you have for kind of merging the two, or even for people that they can't, quite find their passion, but they know something's missing?
Yeah. In that arena, you just have to try a lot of different things. I mean, you have to get out of the house and you have to try things. And so some people, it's not always drawing. It's not what are you naturally good at? What do you like to do? You know, some people are just natural writers. They just love journaling and they love writing. Well, maybe you need to take that to another level and start networking with other writers and join a networking group that, or poetry, or whatever your creative. If it's cooking and you love to cook a home cooked meal and you feel like it's really well done and you invite your friends over, maybe you need to take that to the next level and see if that's something you could start turning into a little side business. So you just have to decide. It doesn't always have to become a business. Sometimes it just is something that you do just for yourself to have a creative outlet.
Yes.
And that's cool, and that's okay as well.
Yes.
But you have to try different things to know what your passion is. You know, you have to be afraid, be not afraid. You have to step out of the box and try things and find out where your passions lie and say, that was fun, but that's not really the thing. And you just try different things until you say, that was something that really resonated with me, that really, I could see myself doing that till I die, kind of a thing.
Yeah. Yeah. And how do you deal with failure, Ben? Like, how do you kind of process that in your head? How do you process failure in your head?
Sorry, that was a little funny. How do I deal with failure?
Yes.
I don't, it's not a struggle for me. I hate to say that because I know for some people it really is. I'm kind of a bounce back up and keep fighting kind of, it just goes with my personality. I'm not afraid to try new things. If it fails, I just, okay, on to the next one. Check it off the box, little learning lesson. I don't think of it as failure. I just think of it as education.
Not failure, but education. Yes. Yeah.
Like when I was flipping houses, if I lost money on the house, which was extremely...
Sorry, you're cutting in and out. And the video did this really weird thing where it sped up your voice. Oh, man. Okay. Note to self, we can't use phones on a live feed. Ben, you've cut out. For those of you out there, while we get Ben back in on a proper feed, let me kind of make sure that you find him and you look for him on Instagram. He is at Ben Fluno Art on Instagram, as well as at Ben Fluno Real Estate on Instagram. And you can also find him on Facebook as well. Oh, we lost him. Oh, man. But Hannah says, I'm second in line for the scarf. Will look fabulous for men's tie or bow ties. Yes, yes, indeed. Oh, he's back. Let's get him in here to wrap up. Okay, Ben. So we know now that we can't use phones. They're not going to work.
My reception is still horrible, and
Yeah.
hopefully yours is not as bad as mine.
Yeah. No, I was just telling people I wanted to thank you so much for your time, Ben. Thank you so much. For all of you out there, wherever you can, try to combine your passions with your profession. And that's a great way to kind of merge those two together. As you saw with Ben, he merged his art side and creativity side with his real estate side. And whatever your passion is, whatever your day job is, try to find ways to merge those two. As you can see, it can come across in all kinds of different mediums, different avenues. And don't quit your day job yet, but definitely nurture that creative side of you and listen to that little voice inside your head that's craving passion and creativity. And definitely go forth with that. And I do want to kind of wrap up with thanking Ben, and apologies for all the technical difficulties. Note to self: the phones are not going to work as well on live stream. So I do want to wrap up by, again, always reminding you to shine your light, share your gifts with the world, share your voice with the world. Do it through content creation, do it through video, do it through podcasts, whatever means, but just do it and share your messages and share your gifts. And may you have an amazing week. And I'll see you next Thursday. Bye now. Thank you for tuning in, everyone.